Let's talk about Wednesday, Netflix's latest version of The Addams Family, which focuses on Wednesday's child who is full of woe. Myself and Stu are going to talk about this brand new season. As per all honest reviews, there will be major spoilers ahead. Stu, you are, as far as I'm aware, a bit of an Addams Family fan.
I am. I was quite excited when I saw this was coming out, especially as it's Wednesday, who I think, for me personally, is my favourite character in the Addams Family as well. It was good to kind of get into like a modernised version of it. The flip side of that is I found it really weird. These people presented in like a modern day version and referencing social media or using like, you know, stupid terminology.
Well, there were a few weird ones because like Wednesday doesn't know about like social media, but she knows what mansplaining is.
I did kind of like it when she said that to him though, where she was like, did you really just mansplain my own powers to me? But I actually think like it started really strong. You know, you've got her brother locked in a locker and she has these visions where she can see what happened. So she sees him getting stuffed in there by some bullies, and in retaliation she goes and dumps some piranhas into the pool.
Oh, great scene.
Well, it is. The CGI is terrible.
Oh, this is Tim Burton CGI, that's for certain.
Yeah, it was absolutely awful. But straight away I was like, okay, it's like this is spot on. It's going to be great. It's the Addams Family. The intro, I was really waiting for that classic like Addams Family theme with the and that was referenced, you know, throughout. It was part of them getting into the Chamber of Secrets,
which was cool. And I think there's a scene where Wednesday's talking to Tyler, the sort of like love interest, where they reference the kooky and the spooky, which was quite nice.
Yeah, there were actually quite a lot of like references throughout. Initially, I was really let down by like it not having that traditional theme of Addams Family.
It's still got like the like Danny Elfman, the guy who did the soundtrack of this, who's done, you know, soundtracks for Tim Burton films for decades. He's taken quite a few like random songs and sort of gelled them into the soundtrack. So you've got like the diddle-it, which is from Black Number 1 by Typo Negative, and that actually riffed it off the Addams Family to begin with. But then later you've got like Paint It Black by Rolling Stones in when she's playing cello on the balcony, I think there's a Metallica song later, Nothing Else Matters, gets woven in. So I quite like that he was picking real songs that sort of like lyrically link a bit to Wednesday.
Yeah, the soundtrack was actually really good, like in general, wasn't it? There were a few moments where I sort of caught myself getting really into just the music part of it.
Yeah.
But I still would have liked that traditional.
Yes.
But that's me
Addams
clinging on
Family
to
theme.
the past, I guess, isn't it? Rather than...
Yeah. It's nice that they've at least done some like little Easter eggs there to the Addams Family. And speaking of the Addams Family as well, this is, you know, very much a Wednesday-led series, and they do appear, but they're quite minimal. They're very much background characters who don't get involved too much. I think Jenna Ortega is brilliant as Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who, like, because given the character of who Wednesday is, she's a very sort of expressionless, gaunt, almost like someone who's dead but alive type vibe. And I think that Jenna Ortega acts a lot with her eyes. The way she like uses her eyebrows and her eyes like sort of conveys her emotions quite a lot. And I think she does like really well.
I think she does. I just think I guess the Addams Family traditionally is like a weird character surrounded by a whole load of other weird characters. And it's all about the family being weird and everyone else is normal. But then you take one of them individually, but you put them into a school full of other weirdos, and I think they lose that overall like oddness and edge about them and just become this softened version that's similar to everyone else, even though she starts somewhat differently, and you know, she's the only one with a slightly different uniform and she's being a bit of an outcast. But then progressively through the series they take that away and she just becomes one of like everyone. I kind of felt like they lost Wednesday for what I perceived the good version of that character to be, and we just got this like teenage school romance that like so many people do.
Yeah, the series as a whole has that kind of feel, doesn't it? It's like dropping a sort of dark version of a teen high school sort of drama, but woven with like the murder mystery element, which I think sometimes it gets a little bit lost in, because you've got all this stuff going on with, there's a prophecy that a girl who looks like Wednesday is going to destroy Nevermore, and there's a monster on the loose, and there's like lots of different sort of things going on. Some of them lose a little bit of focus, I think. Come the end of the series, all of the threads are kind of like tied together, but sometimes it's like, right, where are we going to go with this?
I don't think that detracts from the overall of this being actually quite a good series. It did lose me in the middle.
Personally, I would agree. I think the first episode is such a strong opener to kick you into the series. Like, here we go, this is how we're doing Addams Family now in 2022 on Netflix. Netflix, roll with it. And it dwindles away a little bit in those kind of maybe like episodes 4 and 5, I would say. You know, it hits the kind of general beats that you see in shows like this. It's all stuff that you've seen before, but just with a kind of little bit of a horror type setting.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I did love that Thing was in it so prominently.
I love the way that they've been able to produce Thing. And this is a thing that Thing has always done. Being able to show emotion, you know what it's feeling.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I really love the ability to communicate by just hand movements. Yeah, I love that Thing was in it. I tell you, the one character that I was disappointed didn't feature very prominently was Lurch.
Yeah, he's only in a couple of scenes, just driving around the family car.
Yeah, and he doesn't even look... I remember Lurch looking like almost a complete zombie, and I really like that. Whereas in this, he looks almost semi-normal, and he doesn't look scary or freaky at all. He just looks like this kind of like, you know, thin, tall guy that's just driving a car.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see more Lurch.
How did you find Fester in this?
I was so disappointed by Fester.
Okay.
He had become Raiden, and he just had the power of lightning. Now, I must admit, I do think that's a throwback. I think that's a reference to the original Addams Family, where his party trick was put a light bulb in his mouth and it glows, and they used to say like he had electricity running through his veins, right? That was like an old Addams Family thing. But for him to just show up and it be totally unexplained why he's suddenly Raiden was weird.
But it is quite well played when Thing's been like stabbed against the wall and he tries to resuscitate it with his fingertips, like defibs.
Yeah.
That was nice.
It's not explained, is it? It's just, oh, this guy's got electric. So weird.
Imagine how much he's worth in the cost of living crisis now.
He could power. Fuck Russia, he could just power the country.
Yeah, I mean, to talk a little bit more, I guess, about the whole sort of mystery sort of plot. What is it? Wednesday can not only have visions of the future, like premonitions, but she can have visions of the past as well. And she has a vision that she's the descendant of Goody Addams, this like woman who was sort of like hunted by witch finders, and then that's all linked to the potential destruction of Nevermore. And then you've got Gomez, who's accused of murdering, quite funnily, Garrett Gates.
Garrett, yeah.
The entire time I was
I
like...
misread that as well.
Yeah. So yeah, then we see like, you know, Gomez younger when he was at Nevermore with Morticia, and there's a whole thing there. It's got a lot of things going on, this series.
How did you feel about that, though?
It adds more sort of flesh to it, because, you know, it's an 8-episode series. You want there to be things that you kind of are intrigued by, but there were certainly parts of the story that I felt more intrigued by than other ones, and they don't really link together. None of them feel really connected.
Yeah, they had a lot of things going on. I think they did that a lot at the beginning, and then they tailed off, and there wasn't much meat in the middle anyway.
I do like the stuff like the ice ball that they have, where Wednesday just goes mental. Really cool. I quite like that they've got a variety of like different sort of monsters there. I like Enid's gimmick, the roommate, how she's a werewolf but can't fully transform, so she can only do the claws.
Yeah, we knew that was coming at some point, definitely though.
Yeah, when she squares off with the hide. Oh yeah, there's another thing where it's like there's a mysterious person who is also a monster. I wonder who it's going to be. Is it the guy who we are telling you, this guy with a ponytail over here, it's definitely him? Or is it going to be the person she fancies? Oh, I don't know.
Well, I think throughout they tried to like red herring it, didn't they? They tried to like make out it was Brienne of Tarth.
And then it was Xavier?
They had sown a few seeds in with the teacher.
Miss Thornhill.
Yes, that's it. So
Christina Ricci. That's nice that Christina Ricci's in here as well.
Yeah, and she played a really good character. They took you off in lots of directions. I think they foreshadowed him quite well. So there was like a moment, you know, where they go for a date and they're watching Legally Blonde in the crypt that he set up all romantically.
Tyler. Yeah.
But Wednesday is wearing like a checkered flag, which to me like symbolised like that was going to be the end and it was going to be with him. And there was just like little moments dotted throughout. I did think when it became like they mentioned it was like a Jekyll and Hyde type monster, I thought it was going to be like one person, but it wasn't. Yeah. They said this is two people. This is someone like turning this person into a monster. I didn't think it would be the teacher.
I like as well how with her, like she's the one who wants to resurrect the witch finder who was after the Goody Addams plot thread, like from like back here in the series. I think that ended fairly weak and was quite quickly done. Just sort of stab him and that's it.
Yeah.
It was a little bit anticlimactic, even though I do really like, it's such a stupid scene. It's when after he's been killed, the teacher gets attacked by a swarm of bees, but decides to open fire on them.
Yeah,
like,
just starts shooting at the bees.
What do you think you're going to do?
Eugene's bees. I genuinely did enjoy it. I did find it boring in the middle of this series, but I quite enjoyed it. I could probably rewatch it. It felt very familiar in parts. I did find myself going, oh, well, that's very Hogwarts-esque. You know, like when they did the boat race, it was very Triwizard Cup, or the sword at the end felt a bit Sword of Gryffindor. And there were just like a few moments where I was like, this feels overly familiar. And maybe that's a thing.
Possibly. They might think, okay, season 1, because they're, you know, it ends in a way where they're pushing for multiple seasons. It maybe is the case where, right, we want to get off to a good start. We'll play a bit more conventional than we'd like to sort of like get people into a comfort zone almost, and then as the show goes on we'll start experimenting a little bit more now that we've got the audience. But I would like to see more of this.
I think so. We'll see where they take it, I guess.
Yeah, we will. And even though like in general I think we've had a few things that we spoke about that we weren't so keen on, generally on the whole I still really enjoyed the show from pretty much start to finish, with a few lulls in the middle.
Yeah, I agree.
But we'd love to hear what you think, Ghoul Gang, of season 1 of Wednesday by chucking your comments down below with what you thought.
Only if you're subscribed, though.
Do you know that YouTube have added a new feature where you actually can't leave a comment if you're not subscribed?
Well, you can leave it, but no one will see it or care about it. So if you want
that's true.
other people to see it and care about it, subscribe first. That's when you know, now I have relevancy on this channel.
Well, there you go. That was our honest review of Wednesday. That was myself, that was Stu, and we'll see you next time for another honest review. Cheers out.